Yeah. So the next is interpretation. So it's one thing to know what do I want to do, or basically like who do I help and what results do I help them get? Clarity. All right. But then, so that part's key. And man, I wish there's so much we could talk about even with the clarity part, because your emotional intelligence and self-esteem and all of that plays into your ability to get clear, right? Like you got to know what walk in the room when you walk in there. You have to know that. You have to know what problems you've been created to solve. But so it's one thing to be clear on that. Who do I help and what results do I help them get? Revelation. Second is interpretation. And that's this. What's the way I do it though? Like, yeah, what's the way I do it? Based on the way I've been wired, based on what my gifts are. Like, so there are people who teach people like myself. I teach people orally. I mean, I use written material, right? But I'm more than an author. But there are authors who don't really speak, and there are authors who can't really speak that well.
Yeah.
So we both can say we're in the self-education business.
Right.
But the way I do it, through coaching and courses and mastermind groups and things like that, might be completely different than the way someone else does it. They might write books. They might write blogs. So that next step is being okay with interpreting, okay, now based on the way I'm wired, what's the best way to do it? Because if not, we get caught up in this culture of conformity, and we end up conforming to methods that are not best for you, because when you want something to work, you start doing what you think is working for other people, as opposed to really believing your way works if you work it. And so that's kind of what I mean there with interpretation. There are people like you who are helping people with debt and getting free financially, but they're not doing it the way that you're doing it.
No. And you know what? It's like people will be watching. It's like, well, man, I feel convicted because I started doing what I saw them doing, but what they were doing is not working for me.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, man, sometimes, especially even out on my own, I'll look at other people who are in the money space. I'm like, yo, this is working for them, but it won't work for me. So don't even go over there, Anthony. Actually, as a matter of fact, unfollow them. Don't even see it anymore, because you know your lane. But it takes maturity for me to understand it works for them, but it will not work for me. And it's like, in your space, because you're teaching this within your book, you're teaching this within your courses and curriculums and your masterminds, right? How do you teach people to be okay with their method? Because they may see somebody else with a different method in the same space and making a lot of money, but their method is not making them any money right now because they may be new to it. So how do we encourage people to stay in their lane, stay within their interpretation, and to pursue their route, their way of doing things without giving up because they see something else working?
Yeah, I think one of the things, this is just probably a point of clarification, and that is, I mean, I think both of us do this. Of course, there are going to be times where you need to evaluate and make adjustments, like with your methodology. What I am saying is, and there are going to be times where, like, one of the ways we learn is through observation. We see what's happening in other people, and it's okay to see an example of something that's happening in another person. And if there's a part of your authentic self that resonates with that, it's okay to take that aspect of that person's methods or approach and apply it to you, because all of our methods are going to be like a combination of stuff that we've learned ourselves and stuff that we've learned from other people. But taking something you resonate with from someone and applying it to your methodology is completely different than adopting their methodology. Now, I'm not going to get specific with this, but I know, let's say if a person's a part of a speaker training, right? Let's say someone's a part of a speaker, they're part of a group, and it's like, it's one thing for them to learn the practices of the mentor. It's another thing when they try to take on the personality of the mentor. It's like, yo, that's not even your personality, but it's like, but you feel like, and it's like, and for you, of course it works for him because that's authentically him or that's authentically her.
Yeah.
So it works for them. But it's like you coming in with all this like aggression or whatever. And it's like, that doesn't work for you because it's not, it's not authentic to who you are.
Yeah.
And so I think what people need to do is like, yo, tweak your method and master your method because maybe your method's not working because you haven't mastered it. Now, yo, this is a part I deal with all the time because whenever somebody's stuck, this is game for the table, Ayo. This is game for the table. Whenever somebody's stuck, especially entrepreneurially, it's one of three areas or many of these three areas.
Okay.
It's either going to be a character issue. And when I say character, I'm not talking about ethics. I'm not talking about good, bad person. I'm talking about certain character traits that either they don't have or they need to have more of in order to get the result they're trying to get. So a character trait is something like focus. It's like, well, I'm focused, but are you as focused as you need to be to get the result you're trying to get? Because people who get those kind of results have a different level of focus. Are you resilient? Like, do you quit every time something doesn't work? Or so it's character traits. So sometimes people don't have something and they need to get it. Sometimes they have it and they need to scale that trait. The other thing is this, it's competence. And that's a skill. And I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of people are not where they think they should be because they are not as good as they think they are. Now that's not hating, that's not shade, that's not condescending, that's love, brother. Like that's love. We see it all the time. It's like, yo, people doing courses and it's like, oh my God, my course didn't move. It's like, fam, I watched it. We gotta work on that speaking. We gotta work on that energy. We gotta work on that engagement.
Yo.
And so, anyway, so it's that, and then the other is like confidence, and that's a mindset, because that determines how you show up and how you do a thing. So, man, if people are stuck, it's primarily gonna be in one of those areas, and we kind of. If you master that, you don't always have to change your method. That's my point. Look at your character, look at your competence, look at your confidence. And if you tweak those things, your method might not be the issue.
One of the things that I've learned from you, right, is on the competence side of things. And it's like one thing that you've personally convicted me without you even telling me is I think competence is because of lack of willing to study for yourself. And one thing about you is that I've learned is you just enjoy studying, period. Like you just enjoy reading, period. You're not reading to preach on Sundays. You're not reading to create a new course. You just study like you just eat candy. And I think
no,
you don't?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. People think that.
For real?
No. I would much rather play video games, work out, watch Netflix. I would much rather do that. I hate losing. Oh. I hate being ignorant.
Ooh.
Ignorance is expensive. Ignorance cost me too much early on in life. It cost me too much. It cost me in business. It cost me as a leader. It cost me. So I would rather not get up every morning and do my reading routine and all of that. I would rather not do that. But the pain of living without the results of that is greater than the pain of doing that. So I do it. So I just want to clarify that. I hope I didn't mess up your point.
You ain't mess up nothing.
But I don't want people to think, you just love me. No, I don't, bro. I'd much rather be on 2K and Madden and God of War. Like, yeah, I'd much rather be doing something else. Traveling, hanging out with friends, eating. I would much rather do that.
But you make it seem like you enjoy studying, but you enjoy it because you hate losing.
Exactly.
And that just shifted the whole daggone show.